Okay, so hi everyone. I'm just gonna get started. So let's see how many people that will join this little live stream here. I hope the audio and the image and everything sounds and looks okay. Just gonna make sure that we're not dropping a ton of frames and that kind of stuff. So if the audio sounds good and if the image sounds good, then we'll just continue. So, okay, so welcome everyone, and glad to see this sign towards screen. That's a good name. Lolmaster13 is also here. Welcome, guys. So yeah. I'm not sure where you guys are from. I'm streaming from Sweden, so it's kind of tricky to find a good time to do these streams with the time difference going on. I know the US, you guys are like 6 and 8 hours behind Sweden, so I'm kind of looking for a good streaming time now. So we're gonna try 6 o'clock here in Sweden and see how that works. And next time we'll do some other time maybe, or if you have suggestions what will work best for you, then we'll go ahead and try that as well. So in this video, I haven't really got a ton of different topics or any script or that kind of stuff, but I figured that I kind of wanted to just hang out and talk to you guys for a bit, and hopefully you're able to get or take a little break from all the holiday preparations, cooking, wrapping gifts, and that kind of stuff. So, oh, South Boston, nice, welcome, nice. Um, yeah, so hopefully you can get like a quick little break and just hang out for a second and talk about some gear that we've purchased during 2023, and share some experience and maybe yeah, that kind of stuff. So that's what I figured we'll do today. I'm just gonna make sure that everything is looking okay. Um, so I do hear something weird going on here. I think that's my headphones or something that I used. But anyway, so like I said, I don't have a ton planned for this live stream, so feel free to ask any questions or come with suggestions and that kind of stuff. So what I had in mind in terms of gear talk for this live show here, I wanted to talk about my favorite camera related or kind of filmmaking gear that I've purchased during 2023. Things that are, things that have made my life as a videographer or a photographer easier, or maybe things that might be helpful in a creative way. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, and also want to hear and see what you guys have bought in terms of either helpful or kind of a creative gear this year. Things you like, and maybe things you didn't like as well. So so I'm just gonna stick to that topic for now, and then we might branch off and see. We'll see what happens. Okay, Fall Hydra. So, oh, thank you. Just want to say thanks for making the Canon a lot more fun to use. Yeah, thank you. That's I've been a little weak, or I brought it weak during 2023 when it comes to new releases of these film simulations or picture styles. I'm not sure. I think we've released Kodak, was that kind of in the beginning of the year, and then the Portra and then Pro Nene High was released this year as well. I have been working on some black and white profiles. There's been a lot of requests for black and white film sims, so that's what I've been working on, and it's kind of perfect here this time of year in Sweden when everything is pretty much dead all the leaves are gone and it's just mud and, and misery everywhere. So not a whole lot of colors, but it can still, look pretty good in black and white. So hopefully I will be releasing at least one of those black and white profiles pretty soon here before everything's turning pretty again and we got spring and everything going on. So yeah, that's kind of the current state on those. But it's nice to see so many people actually using and enjoying these film simulations. It's been kind of overwhelming just seeing the amount of downloads on these profiles. So and obviously on Instagram and things like that, your guys have been great at either using the Filmic Canon hashtag or tagging me if you posted images on Instagram. So that's been a lot of fun to see what you guys are using these film sims for. So yeah, looking forward to see more of that. Well, I did prepare a small little list of things that I've purchased during the year, and I wanted to kind of bring a couple of those up here. Sorry, I do have a little cheat sheet here, and it's also my first live stream, so I just want to make sure that everything is as good as it possibly can be. Um, and oh, I can hear the neighbor is shoveling snow outside. Can you guys hear that through the audio? Is it still is it still okay? Actually, it's been pretty poor weather throughout the last couple of weeks, rain and that kind of stuff. So and today we actually got some snow here in Sweden. So yeah, neighbors are out shoveling snow now. I can hear it outside the studio here, but hopefully the audio sounds okay. Um, okay, so let's jump into my list of gear that I've purchased during the year, and gear that I think have been great purchases for me in terms of either making things better or making things more fun and more creative. So obviously the biggest purchase I've made this year was the Sony FX30. This camera here, and right now it's in a cage with a monitor and everything. But that's my biggest or most expensive purchase this year, and I still shoot a ton on my Canon and my Fujifilm cameras because I'm so used to those cameras. Maybe I could put it here in frame for a second. I'm so used to working with my Fujifilm and my Canon cameras, and I know those cameras inside and out. So I haven't fully transitioned over to Sony yet, even if it's kind of the thing that most YouTubers do these days, switching to Sony and all that. But for me, as someone that I do shoot a lot of stills, obviously, but my main focus is kind of video and yeah, video shooting and editing and that kind of stuff. That's kind of my main passion. So having a camera that's built specifically for video instead of being a hybrid camera has been such a relief. A lot of times there's no record limits to worry about. There's a built-in fan, so no overheating issues to take into consideration when you're setting up to shoot and that kind of stuff. I think it was Josh Sadden, who once said that once you've had a camera overheat on you out on a gig or something, then you're gonna be worried constantly about your camera overheating if you're doing things like interviews, or even if you're shooting for YouTube like this, live streaming or what have you. Just having a camera that you know won't overheat and that kind of stuff. That's been one of the best things about the FX30. So, and there's not a whole lot of cameras at this price point that can kind of compete with the FX30 in terms of specs in that sense. You can obviously do 120 frames per second, 4K, even with a slight crop and all that. But just the fact that you can pretty much set this camera up and you can be recording for hours and hours on end. And with the XLR handle on top, you can obviously plug in your boom mics or whatever kind of XLR mics that you want to use for video streaming and that kind of stuff. So that's been one of my favorite, but also the most the most expensive purchase that I've done this year. So yeah, have you guys bought anything interesting or anything that you've been enjoying gear-wise this year? Let me know. And so it's not just me talking all the time here. By the way, what time is it in Boston? Is it still like noon or something like that? I'm not sure how many hours behind you guys are in Boston. Um, okay, so yeah, that's the FX30. But like I said, I'm shooting a ton on my Fujifilm X-T4, and obviously my Canon cameras as well. And I'm actually using my Fujifilm X-T4 right now when we're streaming. So yeah, it's been my kind of go-to camera for a while. Same thing with the Canon camera, obviously. So that's been so 1:15. Well, then it might look a little strange. I actually brought this bottle of rye whiskey out here today to the studio. Figured I might pour a tiny bit of rye whiskey during this stream. So we'll see. But I know it might come across as a bit weird since it's only noon over there. So we'll see. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I open the bottle and taste it? I've never tried this one. It's called Lot 40 Dark Oak. So apparently some sort of yeah, Canadian rye whiskey that's been aged on two types of it's been double aged on fresh American oak barrels. So should be pretty tasty, I think. But yeah, let me know if you think it's a good idea or if it's a terrible idea to pour a little sip of that whiskey. Oh, PTYTB PRM. I just want to say thank you for your picture profiles. Love from Vietnam. Oh, cool, from Vietnam. Well, thank you. Um, oh yeah, I've been working on this kind of thing where you can put comments from the chat up on the screen, but I haven't been able to do that yet. So there's some weird extra stuff that I have to kind of wrap my head around. Let's see. Okay. Oh, and we have Gokul S. I wasn't sure how. Is it Gokul? Uh, I've talked to you a lot, but I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name. So, but nice to see you on board. Um, oh, my best purchase this year was a Kodak tripod aluminum removable head. Can set up for top-down. For top-down shots. Yeah, that's awesome to be able to do that. I remember when I bought a tripod that you could set up for, or you could tilt the main column, so you can do these overhead shots for everything from B-roll to product shots, flat lays, and that kind of stuff. It's such a game changer. So yeah, sounds like a great tripod, a great investment. Let's see what's going on more. So, okay, this side towards screen. My work does use cameras, but it's not essentially big format. So, as a hobby, I've been exploring older digital cameras and vintage lenses. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like to try and use some of my old digital cameras or retro digital cameras, like the this one here, the 2 megapixel little camera from Fujifilm. That I've been using this quite a lot now and then. So like 2 megapixels fits in your pocket, and it's just super slow to work with, but the images are pretty gorgeous, and it's just a ton of fun to shoot these kind of cameras. So just getting back to that thing where you take a picture of someone and you have to ask them to remain, to freeze in position before you take the picture, because it's such a long shutter lag and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it's actually a great experience. So if you have any of those older digital cameras lying around at home, bring them out. Make sure you get the batteries charged and take them out for a spin, because yeah, it's a very different shooting experience for sure. Fall Hydra purchased a 32mm f1.2 EFM Canon lens. Nice, nice. So is that the Canon 32mm f1.4 that you bought for their Fall Hydra? There's a lot of really sweet f.4 prime lenses available now from both Viltrox, Sigma, and there's a ton of manual lenses as well. So a lot of fun to experiment with a couple of those. And let's see. What lens I'm using for the FX30. So yeah, that's the thing. I didn't have any. This is my first E-mount camera, the Sony FX30. So I didn't have any E-mount lenses before, obviously. I did have the Sigma 18 to 35, so I decided to get MC11 adapter so I could continue using that Sigma 18 to 35. But I also wanted to have a lens that's weather sealed, and also, a good kind of all-around lens for run and gun shooting and that kind of stuff. So there was just a couple of different options available in terms of Super 35 or crop sensor zoom lenses that were fixed 2.8 and that was also weather sealed. I know there's a lot of people opting for the Sigma, I believe it's 18 to 50, or is it 17 to 50 f 2.8. That's a great lens, but unfortunately it's not weather sealed. So and the FX30 is obviously weather sealed, so if you're out shooting on a project for a client and there's dust or there's rain or snow and that kind of stuff coming down in the middle of the shoot, not being able to kind of continue shooting and just mess up the scheduling and all that, and maybe leave your clients hanging because you don't want to risk your camera gear. That's why I decided to go with the Tamron 17 to 70. So that's the lens that I've been rocking on the FX30 for pretty much ever since I bought it. I also have a the Viltrox 13mm f1.4, which is also pretty good, especially if you're doing like indoor events and that kind of stuff. So I have been working on this little documentary kind of thing, which were shot tons and tons of just sticky dust floating around in the air all the time, and it's like resinous hop dust, so it's super duper sticky. So my camera, my lens, and everything was pretty much covered in that dust, and the weather sealing towards the camera body did a great job. I've not had any dust specks in the lens so far. The sensor was super clean after that. So far the 17 to 70 has been a great purchase for the FX30. There's only one sorry. There's only one little tiny annoyance with the Tamron 1770 in my opinion, and that's been the autofocus. If you do like a super fast crash zoom into something then it tends to lose focus for just a split second before it kind of regains focus. But as long as you feel, or as long as you stay like kind of mindful of that little limitation and just crash zoom a little slower, if that's possible, then haven't had any issues with this lens so far. The other option was obviously the Sony 17 to 55 or something, which is also, I don't think it's weather seal. I think it's like a dust protected or like a splash protector or something, but it's not super duper uh, weather seal. So and that's kind of almost double the price of the Tamron 1770. So this lens has been on the FX30 pretty much all the time, apart from some indoor shoots that I've done with the Viltrox 13mm f1.8. And one great thing if you're using a prime lens with the FX30, it's the clear image zoom. So basically all prime lenses becomes a zoom lens with a clear image zoom, because you can crop into the sensor without really losing any resolution or image quality 1.5 times. So that's been pretty sweet when you're shooting with primes. Okay, let's see. Good afternoon from Brazil. Cool, says Alex. This year I bought my first camera, the R50. Nice. And thank you for the Kodak picture. Well, you're welcome, Alex. Nice camera, that R50. I've actually been thinking about maybe getting an R50 just so I can keep developing these film simulations, because I'm not sure how much longer Canon will kind of, well, maybe they'll maybe they'll stay backward compatible, so you can still use these PF3 files on newer cameras. I know there's a lot of people shooting with the R series cameras, from the R5, the R50, R6 Mark II, and that kind of stuff. Doesn't seem like there's a problem yet, but my Canon DSLR is getting pretty old, so I have been thinking about getting something a little newer, like a mirrorless Canon camera. So we'll see how that goes. By the way, Alex, what kind of lens did you get for the R50? I'm just interested in if you have any suggestions on what to get in terms of lenses. Okay, Gokul, how big is the size difference from having different cameras, Canon, Fuji, and now Sony, if you shoot at standard or basic video profile? Well, I think in terms of video size, when you're recording something, the Canon camera have the highest compression rate, so those those files tend to be a bit smaller. They're also just H.264, so that's the smallest, the lightest codecs that I can shoot. On the Fujifilm X-T4, you can go up to H.265, and you can shoot up to, I believe it's is it 400 megabits per second video. So those can be pretty chunky, especially if you're shooting 4K with those compressions. The Sony is actually surprisingly versatile. You can shoot, I believe the lowest you could go is like 70, 80 kilobytes per second or something like that. And you can also go all the way up to 800 megabits per second. So, but the wrapper on the Sony camera is surprisingly less taxing on your computer when you're editing the images. So a lot of the Sony files seems to flow a lot smoother in a project. I'm using Premiere Pro, by the way. So once you start editing and you start doing some color grades and adding a couple of effects here and there and that kind of stuff, Sometimes my Fujifilm files they tend to bog down the computer quite fast, but the Sony wrappers they have, a couple of them, XAVC and those kind of wrappers, they tend to run smoother on my computer, which is great because then I don't have to upgrade my computer just yet. There's I mean it's getting pretty old, my computer, so maybe it's time to look at some upgrades, but I haven't quite decided yet. I've seen so many great things and heard so many great things about the Apple M2 chips and the Studio and those kind of computers. Even the tiny Apple Minis with the M2 chips, they seem to to be able to do quite a lot. That said, I'm not a huge Apple person, so I've been Windows and Android pretty much all my life. So it takes a bit of thinking before jumping ship over to Apple. But who knows? I don't know. What are you guys editing on? Are you on Windows or are you using Apple or Mac or whatever it's called these days? Oh, I'm checking here for let's see, 13 dropped frames. I hope that's not. I hope the image and the audio still sounds okay. There's no weird choppiness or any of that kind of stuff. Alex, I'm still learning, so I'm only using the kit lens, the 18 to 45, the 55 to 2.1. Okay. Or her streams always looks pretty crisp and tasty. So kind of interested in learning more about the R50. Uh, and the weird thing is, well, it feels weird to buy another camera for just the sake of buying a camera. But like I said, it would be nice to have kind of a newer mirrorless Canon to just make sure that I can keep these film simulations compatible with these newer cameras. Uh, Obviously, maybe I should sell one of my older cameras, but I tend to keep the cameras and the gear until they're pretty much worn out, so or they're not worth anything more before I upgrade. So I don't think I have much to sell in terms of return value and putting money into a new camera. So we'll see how we deal with that. This side towards screen, Mac and Windows here. I do some video, but mostly photo editing. Nice. Um, so, what kind of Mac are you using? This side towards screen, uh, because I've seen some pretty impressive uh, projects being run on these smaller M1 MacBooks and MacBook Air, I think. But I think at least in the beginning, everything was kind of optimized towards Final Cut. So if you're a Final Cut user already, then that makes a lot of sense. But maybe they've kind of improved the optimization with the towards Premiere and that kind of stuff. Okay, let's see. iMac, Mac Mini, and Windows laptops. Nice. Um, yeah, those Mac Minis, they seem they seem like a great little computer, and the fact that you can kind of put them and maybe run them alongside with your stationary Windows computer. At least that would probably be how I would use it, and maybe bring it out here to the studio for some editing and that kind of stuff. So Marco, hi Marco, nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. Um, so yeah, oh, I had a Pentax K10D, lasted 14 years. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the thing with these older kind of more vintage cameras. They just because they're not as fancy spec wise, they can still keep up and they sometimes last longer or better than some of the newer cameras, which are built. I don't know if they tend to sheep out on material sometimes, but I remember picking up my old Canon, what's it's called, Rebel XT, I believe, in the US, the Rebel 350D, which was launched, I don't know, 2006, 2007 or something. And that camera compared to my SL2, they're just, you know, the difference in just sheer weight between these two cameras are pretty enormous. So definitely some, I don't know, some some armoring going on in that Rebel XT for sure. Uh, let's see. So what else have I purchased this year that have been, well, I was thinking about one thing that I've kind of wanted for a very long time, and I finally this year I decided to get one. I did a lot of research and just scanning eBay, Amazon, what have you, to find something with good reviews, but also kind of at a decent price, because I didn't want to spend too much money on something like this, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't at this point. But the thing that I wanted to bring up in this video, which have been one of my dreams come true in that aspect, has been my motorized slider that's over here. If you've been following this channel for any length of time, you know that it's been sitting here against this wall most of the time with this fake flower pot from IKEA on it, just to kind of fill up that space. And that was that was one of the reasons why I didn't end up using it as much as I actually wanted to, because this studio here, it's tiny. I hope it looks big and expensive on camera, but it's quite tiny. So I couldn't just bring around the tripod and the slider to the right side of the studio as easy as I would have. But now when I move things around here in the studio, I got it set up here in the front of this desk, so it's gonna be easier to use this slider from now on. I hope so. Hopefully, we'll see more slider shots, that kind of stuff. I'm also It's also kind of a two-step thing with this slider, because I've also been dying to get one of those probe lenses from. I know I'm kind of 5 years behind everyone here. The probe lenses are kind of, they came and they went, but I'm still kind of amazed with what you can do with these probe lenses, especially in terms of B-roll and just getting some really creative shots. So I think that with a probe lens, you pretty much have to have some sort of slider, either manual or motorized. That I don't think that's the main issue there, but you need to have something that's super stable to be able to use those probe lenses efficiently. So it's kind of one step towards getting one of those probe lenses. I believe there is a new company that makes something similar to the Laowa probe lens, called I, it's Astory or something like that. They're supposed to be a tiny bit faster than the original probe lenses from Laowa, but they're still pretty expensive. So I don't know. Maybe that's going to be my fantasy purchase of 2024 or something. I'm not sure yet. So there's a couple of things that I've been wanting to get, but I haven't really. I haven't been able to kind of fully defend spending that amount of money on something, because I'm not sure how much I would actually be using that product. And at the same time, you know what it's like when you're buying camera gear, whatever type of gear it is, it's always going to be expensive. Maybe you can find something at a cheaper price that does almost everything that you want it to do, or it does things well enough to kind of cope with them. But there's always that kind of breaking point in terms of price where you just where things get pretty expensive. So we'll see if it's going to be a probe lens this year or 2024. I've also been looking at some wireless transmission systems for video. I think that could be pretty cool when you're out on set. If you're shooting for clients, and you can, some of these wireless transmitters can wirelessly transmit to things like iPads and tablets and that kind of stuff. So you can have your client sitting with a tablet and just watching everything as it unfolds on set, so to speak. So that's another pretty cool little item. Okay, Ant, welcome, Ant. Bought a Viltrox 85 1.8 a few weeks ago. Loving it on my Alpha 6500. Had a few different cameras. Lenses, had to slim down my equipment. Yeah, just to the A6500 and about 5 lenses. Don't need more than that. No, I 100% agree with you, Ant. And I'm also kind of interested in hearing more about that Viltrox 85mm f1.8, because that's been on my list for quite a while as well. So kind of curious to see or hear what you think about the autofocus performance and that kind of stuff. I've heard mixed things. Some people, especially within the Fuji community, when it comes to Viltrox lenses or any third-party lens for that matter, it's kind of difficult to get an honest opinion if you're digging through the kind of Fuji world. Fuji people, some of them are very very protective about their brand and everything, and they want to keep everything 100% Fujifilm, all the lenses and everything, which I totally respect. But there's also quite a few issues with some of the Fujifilm lenses. They're kind of built on old technology, a lot of them, so they're not as smooth when it comes to autofocus if you're doing video, and there's sometimes a lot of focus breathing uh, on those older Fujifilm lenses. I think even the newer ones have been kind of, they've been struggling with focus breathing and kind of, yeah, not the smoothest autofocus performance for video. But so that's, but even then, third party lenses for Fujifilm cameras have kind of been poo-pooed on, so it's kind of difficult to gauge how good these Viltrox lenses are. But I'm shooting on the Viltrox 23 f1.4 now on my Fujifilm here, and that lens have been, I think it's almost caught up with my Sigma 1835 in terms of hours of video and the amount of stills being shot on on this camera or through a lens that I own. So I'm a huge fan of Viltrox lens myself. I think the price to performance on Viltrox lenses is kind of, it's hard to beat. Sure, some of the lenses have some chromatic aberration and that kind of stuff, but a lot of the times I don't see any of the chromatic aberrations. It's like rare occasions, or if you really zoom into something like blown out highlights and that kind of stuff, where you can pick up some tiny amounts of chromatic aberration. But they're, like everyone says, they're so easy to remove in post, especially if it's stills. For video, I mean, it's even better, I would say. So okay. Oh, greetings from Berlin, Stuart. Hi, how's it going? How's it going in Berlin? Um, okay, it's okay. Ant is writing about the 85 from Viltrox. It's a brilliant lens. Autofocus is nearly comparable to the Sony 85. Wow, but at a better price. Nice, nice. Yeah, so maybe I'll have to look at the 85 one more time. I have been thinking about getting the 56 mil from Viltrox um, as kind of a little body to the 23 mil that I'm using on my Fujifilm. But this is where things are getting kind of complicated with having, sorry, 2 or 3 different systems. So I've also been wanting to buy the Viltrox 23 mil for my Sony FX30, just so I can pretty much swap cameras out here in the studio and have the same kind of field of view and everything. Um, but then again, it feels kind of I don't know. It doesn't feel quite right to buy the exact same lens for a different mount just to be able to have that kind of freedom. But then again, it kind of sounds it kind of sounds pretty wise to be able to do that. So maybe I'll do that. But there's a couple of those, and I think there's a 33 mil f1.4 as well, also f1.4. So I don't know. Um, there's too many options. Oh, yes, the cameras is here. Hi, um, Olaf here. Oh yeah, Theo69. Yeah, another great photographer just joined here. Just Ears Cameras. You've sent in some. You sent in some really nice pictures for that video I did quite a while ago with pictures that you guys have taken with some of these picture styles or film simulations for Canon cameras. I remember those fondly. I've also gotten a couple of images from you since then on email that just great pictures, and that's one of the reasons why I usually beg you people to at least tag me or use the hashtag on Instagram, just because it's so inspiring to see what other people are doing, but also the location, just seeing pictures shot from different parts of the world, different types of architecture, nature, portraits, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, pretty cool. Um, See, I love your picture style, and I thought about buying a Canon R camera, but it's annoying that you need a computer to push the files to the camera. Yeah, I agree. If you're talking about um, the whole idea with just bringing the picture styles onto the camera, that there's no way of doing that through a memory card, just like you could with software or firmware upgrades and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I agree that that would be something that Canon might be able to work on in the future and make things easier. And 23 mil would be a good choice. Yeah, like I said, I'm super fond of that 23 mil. Would be interesting to try it and compare it to the Sigma. I've seen a couple of reviews online comparing the Viltrox and the Sigma prime lenses. Uh, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, Gokul, you said you will be buying a new camera, upgrading from current Canon. Have you ever thought about getting a Sony a6000 series to have a secondary for the FX? Great question. Yeah, that's that's another thing with just spreading yourself out across different brands with all the color signs and everything going on. If you're doing a shoot, either commercial shoot or just a YouTube project or whatever, it always gets a bit annoying when if you can't get the images from different cameras to match 100%. Um, but I've not thought about getting any of the Alpha 6000 series cameras as of yet. I think they're uh, well, maybe they'll match natively the FX30 better than the Fujifilm X-T4. But if you shoot log on both cameras, you can pretty much get them to match up quite well. And then if you're in a hurry, you can always slap like a creative look LUT on top of everything, and that tends to kind of push everything towards the same area color wise. So I don't know. That's the tricky thing with the FX30 here as well, that I'm not quite sure what to get as a like a secondary camera to this. Maybe, you know, if Sony releases the FX3 Mark II, maybe the maybe the FX3 Mark One could be picked up for cheap, and that could be like a solid companion to the FX30. I don't know. I haven't thought about that uh, for now, but yeah, it's definitely something that I have to take into consideration. And I haven't invested deeply into the Sony E-mount system yet. So like I have the Tamron 1770, I have the Viltrox 13 mil, but the rest of the lenses that I use for the FX30 are Sigma lenses or EF glass that I'm adapting with the MC11 adapter. So I don't know, but I think I might be past Canon in terms of video-centric cameras for now. So I might as well invest in some EF glass and stick with or sorry E glass and stick with E mount. Fall Hydra, not gear related, but curious how you keep your motivation to continue producing new videos for your YouTube channel. Yeah, that's another great question, Fall Hydra. Sometimes it's sometimes it's very easy to produce new videos, and sometimes it just takes all the energy out of you to sit down, script things out, try products, and make sure everything works, and read manuals and that kind of stuff, because it's not always the most creatively fulfilling things you could do. But yeah, I don't know. It just I try to look at YouTube as kind of a better or worse kind of situation. So I have a tiny amount of aspiration of making YouTube into something that's oh, what happened? Okay, hang on, guys. So I didn't know you could hear me still, but yeah, that makes sense. So I'll grab another battery and see if that's the problem. I have everything plugged into to an outlet here, so I hope it didn't overheat. It shouldn't, but I will grab another battery here for the XT4 and see if I can get the image back on again. So just give me 1 second here. I have these airborne cables in the studio that I have to step over. So I'm just gonna check and see what's going on. Oh, I think I've found the problem. So give me 1 second. I think the what died was the monitor that's feeding the signal to my capture card. Oh guys, I'm so glad you can't see what I'm doing here. Just jumping over these cables. So let's see if we get the image back. like so. And let's see. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully. Yep. Can you guys see me? Oh. Okay. So it looks like the image is back. But I'm just gonna wait for a couple of seconds here to make sure that everything is looking all right again. Oh. Okay, so yeah, that's good. I was using my sorry, all the climbing over these airborne cables here. Whew. So yeah, I was using a power bank to feed the monitor power, and the monitor feeds the capture card here. So apparently it just ran out of juice. So it wasn't the camera. That camera looks fine still, but yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna take a drink of water and then we'll continue. Yeah, but YouTube, yeah, motivation, yeah, that can be tough sometimes, but like I started saying, it's like I've been wanting to do more with YouTube and hopefully be able to get better and more efficient at creating content, and hopefully I can get enough ad revenue someday that I could kind of work less with my day job and and free up more time to be creative, because I feel like sometimes I get stuck in the studio and I'm just making product reviews sitting behind the desk here, like most YouTubers do, which isn't creatively fulfilling. Sorry, but sometimes there's more. You're in a creative flow and that kind of stuff, and you can kind of go out, shoot, B-roll, sorry, outside, and that can kind of help you to regain some motivation. But it's also you guys that I think is one of the main parts of bringing in motivation to do YouTube videos, YouTube content. Just knowing that there's nice people watching the videos, and sometimes leaving a review or like a nice comment or something like that. That's that's uh, that's the main fuel that I'm working on a lot of times. But yeah, it's like that. Sometimes you have a ton of inspiration, and sometimes you just dread it. But like the old saying, if you want it as a job, then treat it as a job. So yeah, sometimes you just have to push through, even if you feel like borderline burned out. Okay, this side, I love that username. This side towards screen. What's your take on fixed lens cameras like the GR or X100V, or ones with small zooms? I've been seeing a slight trend towards pocketable cameras for more casual shooting. Yeah, that's a great question. I I think I kind of I would probably enjoy working with a fixed camera lens like the Ricoh or the X100V and those kind of cameras, just because you don't have any options. um, so I mean, at times it can be a bit frustrating, but at the same time, it's basically like shooting with a prime lens on your camera, and I think the value of having a fixed lens camera like the ones we're talking about here, the Ricoh and the Fujifilm, and having a pocketable camera with you at all times or a lot of times can be equally as fulfilling as having a bigger camera and having to lug that around a lot of times. So I think I would be quite happy to use like a fixed camera or a fixed lens camera. Um, I see them as well simpler cameras because you don't have the option. So either you can get the shot, you can either move close enough to the subject or far away from the subject, or sometimes you just have to to keep your camera in your pocket and just enjoy the scene with your eyes and kind of be in the moment for quite a while. But just having a camera like that that's uh, smaller and more pocketable, I think that's a great thing because me personally, I don't. I mean, everyone talks about smartphone cameras being so good these days, and they are. Especially, some of the newer smartphones like the Apple iPhone 15, and I don't know what Samsung is bringing out now, but there's a lot of super good smartphone cameras available these days. But if if you're like me or any of you guys, I'm pointing towards the chat here. Sorry, but like you guys, if you're into cameras, photography, video, and that kind of stuff, then you probably would agree with me that there's a certain difference between having a camera in your hand and looking for a subject or composing an image versus just bringing up your smartphone and clicking clicking the image with your smartphone. At least for me, I tend to go into a different kind of mode when I'm using a camera versus just taking pictures with my smartphone. So for me, I would definitely get. I would rather shoot with this this 2 megapixel camera from Fujifilm from I don't know 2004 or something. Than I find it more interesting and creatively fulfilling to shoot with a camera like this compared to using my smartphone. But maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. What your guys think? Do you shoot a lot with your smartphones? Do you prefer, or do you think smartphones is as good of a shooting experience as using a even a crappy camera? Like, well, maybe not as crappy like this, but something a little less crappier. Um, oh yeah. Uh, do I have children? Yeah, I actually have two children. How do you document family life? Yeah, that's something that I'm terrible at documenting family life because my children are now at an age where they don't want to be in pictures. They don't want to be photographed or filmed and that kind of stuff. So it's always kind of a bit of a struggle. There's most of the shooting I do for documenting family life these days are either on if we're traveling somewhere or sometimes when I can kind of get more candid shots of them. If they if they don't know that I'm taking their picture, then they're usually okay. Otherwise, they're just turning their back around or hiding and that kind of stuff or complaining. So yeah, that's been kind of a struggle. I don't know if you guys have any any advice or any tips on how to document family and get better at it. But I also think it's about I know Omar Gonzalez at YouTube. He's one of my favorite photographers on YouTube, and he does a lot with prints and just making sure that the pictures that he takes of his family actually gets printed and gets put up on a wall or on one of those frame TVs and that kind of stuff. So I think that's maybe maybe that could be like a motivating factor to have somewhere to or something to actually do with those pictures once you have them. But I have a ton of pictures on my on my hard drive. I just haven't had time to sit down and go through everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. It's complicated. Um, Okay, Anne says The only pictures I take with my phone is when you have to use it for credit card payments and that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, I agree. That kind of stuff, or yeah, I'm not a huge fan of using my smartphone for any creative work at all. Sometimes you kind of have to because it's the camera that you that you have with you. But I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't get any satisfaction from shooting with my smartphone. Yesteryear's cameras says a fixed camera lens is a good option, a challenge, but not as the only one. I think. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's kind of a way to kind of step out of your comfort zone if you're shooting with zoom lenses all the time. Just being able to work with your framing in a different way, and maybe if you're shooting with a wider fixed camera lens and do more like wider portrait type shots or what have you, then yeah, it could be yeah. I Like I said, I'd rather shoot with one of those cameras than when with my smartphone. Seon Min says thanks. Yeah, welcome. I'm not sure if that was any advice at all, but like I said, it's tricky. But I think having having a plan for what to do with those images would maybe motivate you and maybe your family as well to be able to get more nice pictures of your family and yourself up on walls in nice looking prints and that kind of stuff. So yeah, maybe that's the ticket. Let's try that during 2024. Um, well, this was pretty awesome. I'm not sure if we're gonna stay online much longer. I know there's a lot of people quite busy with preparations for the holidays and everything. So maybe we should aim at wrapping things up. If there's no further questions, oh yeah, here comes one. This slide for the screen. I think family photos are beautiful art form. Snapshots of events really can capture the moment. And sometimes a well composed photo is not needed for the emotional connection. Yeah, I 100% agree. Um, yeah, I think, well, are you guys? I just been talking about my kind of view on documenting family lives, but yeah, it's interesting to hear your thoughts on how you are documenting family life and that kind of stuff. I mean, sometimes you get so hung up with photography, video, and that kind of stuff, and you're always looking to get cool bangers and that kind of stuff. So you kind of I don't know. It's like in Sweden we have this saying about the what's it called, skomaker, shoemaker. So the shoemaker's children have the worst shoes on them. So maybe that's that's true in this regard as well. Uh, and does anyone use Lightroom? Used it for a year and I quite liked it. Yeah, I please chime in, guys, if you have anything to say about Lightroom. I use Lightroom Creative Cloud, and I use it a ton on my smartphone as well. I like the fact that I can pretty much just drop pictures from my SD card into Lightroom, and then I can go away somewhere and I can bring up on my smartphone, and I could do calling, and I can do like if there's some sort of event that I'm shooting at or something like that, I can have a couple of edits done on my smartphone, you know, at the event, so I could go ahead and send those to the organizers or post on my own social media and that kind of stuff. So I'm super happy with Lightroom. I know there's a couple of free versions that are kind of mimicking Lightroom, like Darkroom. That's quite popular. I've used Darkroom a tiny bit. I didn't I didn't use it enough to become fluent in it, so I'm not sure how good it is compared to Lightroom. But just the Lightroom, the mobile version together with the Creative Cloud or the classic version, I think those are great. The other big one is obviously Capture One, which I have a license of Capture One, but I have yeah, I think I still have it installed on my computer, but I think I've launched it like 3 times or something. Um, so I'm not Darktable. Okay, that's another great open source option. Yeah, Darktable. Yeah, that's the one. Um, so yeah, I think those are, but it kind of depends on what you want to do as well, what kind of editing and that kind of stuff. I mean, what's great about Lightroom these days, you have all the kind of auto masking and all that, but I think even free photo editing softwares and smartphone apps have these features now, like AI selecting subjects and that kind of stuff. So you can kind of separate your subject and play around a bit with color temperature separation and that kind of stuff. That's normally what I do if I don't have time to set everything up properly. I use that a lot, the masking in Lightroom, to just push things in different ways to get a more interesting subject separation and that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, the sad thing about all the Adobe products is the subscription model. So it can get quite pricey if you wanna stay on top of everything. So yeah, I don't know the deal with Capture One, if it's subscription based or if you buy like a license there. I haven't checked it up lately, but maybe Capture One, that's also used by a ton of professionals if you're looking for a professional level editing software for stills. Capture One, but yeah, the Darktable seems to be a very popular option as well. Um, do you post to Lightroom community? I don't. um, I no, I don't. I use Lightroom, but I'm not a part of the Lightroom community. I know the Lightroom community have grown and different. Obviously, they have their own kind of Lightroom community, and they have very talented people that do all these different presets and profiles and that kind of stuff, and you can get pretty much step by step tutorials, and you can see on all the faders and sliders and everything how all these presets come together and all that, which is pretty cool on Lightroom. But I haven't been participating in the Lightroom community. Um, well, I think I'll skip my list here of of gear that I've purchased. We've been going on for a little over an hour here, so like I said, I know there's a lot of people watching this and that have been watching the entire time, that have things to do, maybe family pictures to take and presents to wrap and all that fun stuff. So I think we're gonna wrap things up for this time, and hopefully I can get online within a couple of days again, and we can catch up some more and hang out. So well. With that said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and take care and happy holidays and all that fun stuff. Now I'm gonna open up that bottle of rye whiskey and wind down and yeah, relax and enjoy the holidays. So oh yeah, thank you so much for the high praise or the high praise. Yeah, my first stream here on this channel and with this equipment and all that. So I hope the audio and the image quality was tolerable. I will listen back to this live stream in a couple of days and figure out if there's what kind of improvements I can do and all that fun stuff. So, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. So